and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be trying out a new brand to me, and it is Ensley Reign. There's 3 liquid shadows, 3 loose shadows, 3 pressed shadows, as well as a rainbow highlighter. So I'm going to be showing you some swatches, and then I'm going to create 3 looks, 1 look per 1 type of product, and then I'll give you some of my initial thoughts on the brand at the end of the video. I'm going to be using the Layer palette from Blend Money Cosmetics for the mattes, going in with Jellyfish, and I'm going to pop that first into the crease, and I just accidentally tapped that a little too high, but that's okay. I'll just bring this a little bit higher than usual. But I'm going to use the liquid eyeshadow first. Next, I'm taking the deep onto the outer corner, kind of on an angle here. And then I'm going to wipe off this brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of Catch Me and just blend that into the edge of that. And then going back in with the deep a little bit more, bringing it up a little bit into my crease. I'm going to be using the Molten Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Nightfall, and this is like a black base or jeweled tone type of multichrome. And I'm just going to use a doe foot, and I'm pretty much going to bring this all the way across the lid, but I'm going to skip this upper part. I'm going to use the other liquid shadow, and I'm just putting that. I can see that it's a little patchy from my view. And then above that, I'm going to go in with Illusion. Oh, it's so pretty. Which is a little bit more on the lighter side. Oh, that's so fun. And then I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna add another layer of the jeweled multichrome. So I'm adding in another layer. I'm just gonna put it on a little bit thicker. And again, make sure you let that dry with your eye not open. And that's it dried down, and here's what that looks like. I can see just a little bit of patchiness from my view, but it's not really showing from the camera angle. And I can definitely feel it on the lid. I've mentioned this before, but usually with some sort of liquid shadows, you will feel them until they kind of stretch around on your skin. I can see a little bit of skin texture accentuation. And again, that's really common with liquid shadows in general. The second look, I'm going to go in with the loose shadow, and this one is Ethereal, and it is an opal multichrome. So you can see it has like a pinky purpley reflex. So I'm going to pair it with some pink and purple. Going in with Baited from the Blend Money Layer palette again, and I'm going to pop that right into the crease here. And I'm taking Tentacles, and I'm going to put that on the outer corner just to deepen it up. Pretty much what I always do. And I'm going to bring it into my crease a little bit. Going back in with a little bit more. I'm just going to use the same brush I used in the crease to blend this out. I'm going to go in with Baited actually to blend it out. I'm going to go back in with a little bit more Tentacles. And a little bit more Baited, just the tiniest bit on this brush. Just feather the edges of that. And then taking Tentacles on my lower lash line. To apply the loose multichrome, I put a little bit in the cap, and I'm going to be using the Fix Potion from Karla Cosmetics, which is like a gel in a pot. Here's what that looks like. And I'm just going to pick a little bit up on my brush and kind of start to mix it in the cap together. This way you prevent fallout, because it's essentially becomes somewhat of like a liquid multichrome. I'm gonna put that all over. I was expecting a little bit more. Oh, there we go. Here's another layer. It's definitely very pretty. I think this would make a great highlight too if you wanted to use it for that. And then just gotta let that dry. That looks so much more purple than I thought, the way it looked just in the jar. Very beautiful. I think this is gonna be a great shadow to layer. For the last look using the pressed shadows, I'm gonna go in with the old reliable blends palette from Blend Money Cosmetics, because I wanna reach into these yellows and the red. So I'm gonna use 2 shimmer shadows that are pressed, the Fairy Lights shadow and Firefly. Now I really want to use Marigold, but I'm going to save that one for a reel, so definitely make sure you're following me on Instagram to see that one in action. I'm so excited to use that one. It is so beautiful. So I'm taking Wildflower, and I'm just going to pop that right into the crease. And this is super pigmented. That took like no effort at all. I think I'm going to go in with just a little bit of orange in there. So barley. Just a little bit. Do a little bit of a almost sunset kind of eye situation. Just a little bit. And then on the outer corner, I'm putting down Vexed. A little bit of follow, but that's fine. And then I wiped off my brush, and I'm just going to use this one to go back in with this brush. These are from Singe Beauty, from Angelica's brand. I'm actually going to take a little bit of Wildflower and just use that to help blend this out here. So hopefully I can just flick it off. I have a little bit of red here now, which is unfortunate. And then I'm just going to bring this down here. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of Vexed on this brush, just to bring it down, and then Wildflower on the edge of that. Might as well just do it all the way around. Actually, I think I'm going to take Vexed into the crease here a little bit too. I think it would just look really nice if it's all kind of cohesive. So I'm just taking that here, just really blending everything together. And then I'm going to go in with the Fair Pixie Epoxy. I have a link down below. It is not an affiliated link. I don't think they even know who I am. But I love this primer so, so much. Picked up Fairy Lights, and it's going to go on an angle, essentially in the center of my lid. And then taking Firefly on the inner portion. Ooh, that looks super green to me. That is so pretty. Wow. Oh, that is so shiny. And here's the finished look. So beautiful. I've used and wear tested the shade Charmed, and it wore really, really nicely, really beautifully. And I didn't feel like it accentuated to my skin texture. It looked really beautiful. I didn't do a thick layer, and I'm excited to use Illusion and kind of just let it have its own moment on the lid. And I feel it's really shiny for being a jeweled multichrome. It is a little bit patchy, so it's not my favorite. I definitely prefer these kinds of shades that are a little bit more translucent, and they just allow you to kind of dial up or down the pigmentation a little bit. As for the loose pigments, I obviously didn't use two of them, but they're loose pigments. I think for the most part, they pretty much all work the same. I did not swatch nor use the loose Firefly because I do have the pressed single, so I just didn't want to waste it. I'm going to give this away to a friend. Crystal Bubble is absolutely stunning. I love these kinds of multichromes. I definitely have the shade already, but it is so beautiful. I've noticed that there's some loose pigments that just tend to give a different effect than a pressed shadow. And then Ethereal, on the other hand, is much more of a really smooth, finely milled loose pigment, and it's not as shiny as a Crystal Bubble. It's definitely more of a softer kind of shine. It's still really beautiful, and I know not everybody wants something that is this level. Onto the pressed shadows and the highlighter. I have yet to use Marigold, but I can't wait to use it. I mean, look at it. It's so beautiful. It is such a stunning shadow. I think this one is the most unique out of the three that they have sent me. This shade, Firefly, is so shiny, and again, we have a little bit of a different texture, and Fairy Lights is not as like shiny sparkly. It's still really nice and smooth and shiny, but it's just not quite like Fireflies. And I love seeing a variation of formulas and types of pigments from brands, because that way you can kind of pick what your preference is. And then the rainbow highlighter is so beautiful. It is such a small pan though, so I think you're going to end up probably just swirling your brush in there unless you deliberately go in and swipe with your finger. Again, so far this is a great first experience with Ensley Reign, and again, thank you so much for sending these products over to me to try out. I've had my eye on them. I think one of the first posts from them I saw was actually a swatch of Marigold, and I was immediately intrigued. So again, make sure you're following me on Instagram because I'm going to be using this one. So let me know in the comments below if you've tried anything from Ensley Reign. I would love to hear your thoughts, and that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.